any population, you'll have very small subsets of folks that don't follow the rules, and we hold those folks accountable. We actually know historically it's always true that we have lower levels of crime around migrants than we do among our general population. So there's a risk of misperception somehow this population is more dangerous, causing more trouble. That's just factually not true, but we are aware of it. We have overt and covert operations going every day to intervene, and where we know there are risks, we're going to be aggressive about making arrests, about pressing charges, and if needing, deporting folks. But I think the much bigger risk is that you'll have a perception that all of the newcomers in the city are dangerous, and nothing could be farther from the truth.
Meanwhile,
Right now. So, yes, it's true. If you've been seeing about the stuff in Aurora, Colorado, about the Venezuelan gangs taking over two apartment complexes, yes, it's very true. I happened to drive to Aurora today for business. Not even, what time is it? Yeah, not even 3 hours ago I was in Aurora. All right, and I was right near where that shit happening. Let me tell you, man, holy shit. Let me tell you right now that this shit's no joke. All right, these motherfuckers is really out here with AKs and guarding an apartment complex that does not belong to them. Okay? This is the Venezuelan gangs that came up here. I can't remember what their name is, but yeah, that's real. Like, the shit's getting dire. All right? I'm out here right now. Aurora, Colorado, or not Aurora, Colorado. I'm in Lakewood, Colorado, bro. All right, I'm on the opposite side of the metro area, man, but I go all the way over there for my videography. I go over there for recording shit. I go over there for all types of shit. I'm sorry, forgive me. I'm just heated about this. It's just really bad that, like, people really don't think this is happening, bro. This Venezuelan prison gang took over 2 apartment complexes in my state, man. And, like, yes, it's real. It's getting real. That's why I stay with what I got. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't have something like that and this shit happening, you gotta beware. That's all I'm saying. People see what you have. People see what you have when you don't look, and man, and be prepared for that shit to get taken. I mean, that might be fear-mongering, or whatever the Kamala Harris want to say, but it's fear-mongering. No, it's not. This is reality right here. This is like 10 toes down in the state. So if you're wondering what's happening with Colorado, that's what's happening, all right? This ain't no fear-mongering. There are people being charged rent out in this apartment complex, bro. They called the FBI. They said they could do nothing about it. They called the state, and yet Colorado PD, all of them, dude. No, they can't do nothing about it. Oh, and they also called the marshals, from what I hear. Nothing they can do about it, apparently. Nothing you can do about immigrants taking over an apartment complex by force? What? Make it make sense.
They're murderers, they're drug dealers. If you take a look at Venezuela as an example, their crime is down 72%. Because they've taken their criminals from Caracas, they've taken their drug dealers, they're emptying their prisons into our country. Their crime is down all over the world. Crime is down. In the Congo, in Africa, 22 people deposited into our country. Where do you come from? The Congo.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. We got to talk about what is probably the craziest story in this country right now. And a story that, honestly, should be the #1 story, because it is a reminder of what you're going to get if this country chooses to put Kamala Harris in the White House as president, right? This is something that is going to be happening across the country if Kamala Harris is president, because we know she wants to give away money for illegals to buy houses, to get jobs, to start businesses, right? She wants to do exactly what they're doing out there in California, right? And the result of that is that you will have illegal immigrants who are a part of gangs, violent gangs, take advantage of these clowns, okay, running this country right now, and to take over buildings, whole apartment buildings in the United States of America, okay, take them over and then start charging people rent, which is apparently what is happening out in Aurora, Colorado, okay, / Denver, okay, and you have the mayor of Aurora, Colorado coming out and going on Fox News, basically explaining what's going on, because nobody can really verify exactly what's happening, okay, but he's going to give us some more information, and the details that this guy is going into, it's insane to think about. These Venezuelan gangs have taken over these apartment buildings, and they're now charging rent to American citizens and probably other illegals too, who are getting money from the federal government, right? So these people, they've created a whole enterprise, all thanks to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's immigration policy that is Charmin Ultra Soft, okay? Charmin Ultra Soft, just like Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, right? So I want to react to this interview because the details that this guy is going to go into, it's insane, right? It is absolutely mind-blowing to think about some of the things that are happening in this country because of illegal immigrants. Some of these stories are just so insane that it's hard to believe.
A group of migrants tried to board a school bus this morning while it was traveling to a school. The superintendent for the Humboldt del Zura Union School District informed parents of that incident earlier today. It happened at one of the stops on the school district's bus route that heads to Oak Grove Middle School and Humboldt Primary. Meanwhile, yesterday afternoon, in a similar area along another route, the superintendent says that a group of migrants tried to stop another bus. Border Patrol, CHP, and the Sheriff's Office have now been informed of these incidents. The superintendent says that for the safety of everyone, if a driver sees a group of migrants at a bus stop, they will drive past it and move on to the next.
He said these adults, they weren't kids. He said, but they had backpacks on, Mom, and they tried to get on our bus. He said, and there was a lot of them.
The district confirmed 20 migrants tried to board the bus Wednesday morning. That's when parents and the driver stepped in, keeping the migrants at bay.
It was definitely really scary.
Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable stuff.
Aurora, Colorado. Mayor, thank you very much for coming on with us. It seems it's tough to even get some confirmation of the details of what is going on there. First off, can you confirm whether or not this gang has taken over these buildings there in Aurora?
So there are several buildings actually under the same ownership, out-of-state ownership, that have fallen to these Venezuelan gangs. I'm trying to walk it back and do the investigation as to how there's a concentration of Venezuelans in these three buildings. Somebody put them there, and somebody funded it. Whether it's federal government or not, we're trying to find out who these gangs apparently are attracted to where there's a concentration of Venezuelan migrants, and so they've in fact have kind of pushed out the property management through intimidation and then collected the rents. We have now, or have had, it is ongoing operations with a task force of local law enforcement, state law enforcement partners, and federal law enforcement partners to root them out. And arrests have been made, but these operations are still ongoing.
Wow. This is just insanity. They took over a whole apartment complex, intimidated the ownership group, okay? And then they came in and basically started charging people rent. They were collecting rent. Wow. You can't make this stuff up. And the crazy part is, it almost seems like there's nothing that nobody can do about it, right? I mean, in a sane world, if something like this was to happen, which again, in a sane country, this would never happen. But if it did happen, this problem would get cleaned up ASAP, right? It wouldn't be one of those things that's like an ongoing situation, right? It wouldn't take 3 or 4 weeks to solve the problem, right? It would be solved immediately, right? Because law enforcement would do their job and go in there and clean up the illegals, okay? And have them deported back to Venezuela. But apparently that's not the case, okay? So again, this is a crazy situation for multiple reasons. But again, this is why people are so concerned when you see these images of these illegals coming to the country. And they're mainly military age men, okay? It's not being sexist, right? It's just using common sense. All of these young men are not seeking asylum. And even if they were, right, even if they were escaping political persecution, I don't give a damn. You're a young man, okay? You know the plight of the young man throughout most of history, right? The plight of the young man is when their country is in trouble, they stay and they fight for their country, okay? They don't flee, okay? They used to call young men that flee when their country's in turmoil, they used to call them cowards. Now they call them asylum seekers. And this is where we're at in our country, okay? Where we think that it's a good idea to take in all of these military age men. And you don't think there are going to be any negative consequences, okay? Because they're not all here because they're escaping political persecution. A lot of them are here to commit crimes, sell drugs, and operate on behalf of their gang, okay? That is what is happening, okay? And the Biden administration clearly has failed at the task of vetting these individuals, okay? they are trying to convince us that no. What we need to do, this is what Democrats want to do, right? They want to let more illegals into the country, okay? And they say, listen, trust us. We can vet these individuals, okay? We can weed out all the criminals. Clearly, that's not the case. Clearly, they have no ability to vet and to weed out the bad apples, okay? So, again, this is just another example of the failures of Democrat leadership of the Biden administration.
With the arrests that have been made, are these confirmed gang-affiliated members?
You know, this is an organized criminal effort. Whether it's Tren de Aragua, that remains to be seen. But it really doesn't matter. I mean, if they're Venezuelan migrants and they're conducting crime in an organized manner, they're a problem.
So, okay, so you're able to confirm that this Venezuelan gang has indeed taken over at least some of the buildings. You're saying at least 2 of the 3. And what I just heard from you is you don't know how they ended up there. And you even made a suggestion that they could have been sent there by federal officials. I heard you suggest. I mean, do you have any reason to believe that to be the case?
So here's the problem. I think we're a victim of a failed policy at the southern border because what you have, Venezuela does not, according to my law enforcement, Venezuela does not cooperate with the United States in sharing criminal histories.
Wow.
You've had a third of the country leave. You've had these massive waves of migrants coming across the border that many of them crossed the border illegally, were arrested, asked for political asylum, were not adequately vetted, were released into the country. The city of Aurora, we did everything we could to quite frankly keep them out of the city because it's not our problem. This is a federal problem. This is a problem borne by the federal government. But what we're trying to find out, and what I believe occurred, was that federal agencies worked with some of our local nonprofits and put them there. Now, most of these people are very good people.
Okay. So what he's saying is that there's money going to these nonprofits, right, which are run by liberals, right? And then they're taking that money and they're giving it to the illegals, right? So when people talk about, oh, there's no evidence that the government is handing out money to illegals. Okay, the federal government is not giving money directly to illegals, but they are giving money to illegals via a mediator, okay? Via some of these nonprofits that are getting rich off of the migrant crisis. That's what's happening, right? So again, the corruption is so deep. It's so deep. Like, for example, in Chicago, right? A lot of these nonprofits, they're friends with Brandon Johnson. Okay, so Brandon Johnson uses taxpayer dollars to give to these nonprofits. They get rich, right? And then Brandon Johnson comes out and says, well, I'm helping out all of these minority-owned businesses, okay? Minority-owned businesses, this is how they finesse it, okay? I'm helping out these minority-owned businesses. And then they're the ones that are going to facilitate giving the resources, the taxpayer dollars to the illegals. Same thing in New York City. You guys remember the whole debit cards for illegals program that they have in New York City? Okay, Eric Adams tried to justify it by saying, oh, well, the finance company that's doing this, well, they're black owned, right? They're a minority owned business, so therefore it's okay. Okay, you can't criticize us for giving food stamps to illegals, which, by the way, they're not going to just spend the money on food. They can spend the money on whatever they want to spend the money on. It's not like the government's going to punish them, okay, or actually hold them accountable for spending money on things they're supposed to spend money on. No. That never happens, right? Again, it's flat out corruption, okay? You have these liberal Democrats, okay, that are running these nonprofits, getting rich, getting absolutely filthy rich off of the migrant crisis. And then they try to pretend as if we're humanitarians. We're doing this for altruistic purposes, and you guys are racist and evil because you don't want to allow Venezuelan gang members into the country, right? They're the ones that are getting rich off this. They're not doing this because they want to treat their neighbors well, okay? This is what they try to do. They try to guilt trip people and try to make it seem like, oh, well, we're doing this because we want to do the right thing, right? And we want to help out the people that are less fortunate. No, you're getting rich, okay? And you're pretending as if you're doing it for some higher purpose when, no, you're just trying to get rich off of taxpayer funds. These people are corrupt and they are evil. I'm telling you, okay? I'm telling you. That's what's happening here.
but there's a criminal element that, from what I understand, what law enforcement is briefing me, that often follows them, intends to exploit them within their own migrant community. And so we believe that that is happening now. Now, we're the 51st largest city in America. We're with over 400,000 in population. This is only several apartment complexes.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I'm not going to surrender any part of this city to a criminal element.
With all due respect, it's no longer, I mean, just in the hands of the feds when you've got, we've heard reports that this gang has green-lighted its members to attack your local police. What are you doing about that, Mayor?
Well, we're aware of that in the Denver metropolitan area, that there are elements of Tren de Aragua here. And so, we're, in terms of how our police operate, the tactics, what they're doing to protect themselves, is our number one priority.
Wow. Now, again, this guy's a Republican, just so people know, right? He's not a Democrat. He's a Republican. This is sad. It really is. It's a bad situation, and it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse. If Democrats are allowed to continue to run the country at the federal level, if people keep voting for these Democrats at the local and state level, because a lot of these Democrats, they're pushing the sanctuary city laws, right? Where they not only are welcoming illegals into the city, but they're saying, hey, if you commit crimes here, we're not going to help the federal government deport you. We're going to help you hide from the feds, right? This is what they're doing. These are the policies in these cities, okay? Now, part of me is kind of like, well, hey, this is what you guys signed up for, right? But a lot of people didn't sign up for this, okay? You have people that did vote the right way, but yet they live near some liberal city, right? They're in some metropolitan area, right? So they are still exposed to the consequences of bad Democrat policy. So those people I do feel bad for, right? Which is why Kamala Harris and the Democrats, they must be defeated, right? This is an issue that has to get resolved, and we know that Kamala Harris is not going to fix it. She's only going to make it worse. It's going to get a lot worse if Kamala Harris is elected president. So, hey, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.